Hello, Baptist Jim here again. I'd like to talk to you guys about several things that's going on in the world right now. Uh, but before I do that, I want to read something uh, that we as a nation, our households, and our daily lives uh, should keep at the forefront of our minds. Um, in Hosea chapter 5, verse 15, I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction they will seek me early. Now I want to go on to chapter uh, 7, and this is talking about Israel's uh, wickedness, but I think we need to look at this as Americans because we are. I'm going to talk a little bit about politics, and I've tried to stay out of everything, but as much as I can. But these things need to be discussed. Uh, well, let's go down here to uh, Hosea chapter 7, verse 1. When I would have healed Israel, then the iniquity of Ephraim was discovered, and the wickedness of Samaria, for they commit falsehood, and the thief cometh in, and the troop of the robbers spoileth without. And they consider not in their hearts that I remember all their wickedness. Now their own doings have beset them about, they are before my face. They make the king glad with their wickedness, and the princes with their lies. Now I'd like to skip down to uh, in chapter 7, but skip down to verse 13. Woe unto them, for they have fled from me, destruction unto them, because they have transgressed against me. Though I have redeemed them, yet they have spoken lies against me. And they have not cried unto me with their heart. When they howled upon their beds, they assembled themselves for corn and wine, and they rebelled against me. Now that's obviously against the Lord. Though I have bound and strengthened their arms, yet do they imagine mischief against me. Now, who does that sound like? It sounds like us. It sounds like the United States. They return, but not to the Most High. They are like a deceitful bow. Their princes shall fall by the sword, for the rage of their tongue. This shall be their derision in the land of Egypt. So those few verses say a mouthful, and I hope you understood it. It's people not being earnest, the nation not being earnest. We're seeking healing. We talk about it as a nation. Yet we turn around and vote for crooks and criminals because we don't even take enough time to set and um, find anything out about the people that we're going to vote for. This is going to be very stern here. If you're planning on voting for Hillary Clinton, you really need to check your salvation. If you're doing that to bring forth the end times, I will tell you, you're very confused because you can't bring them forth. God may put that in you, but if God puts that in you, you are not one of the elect. So you need to seriously, as I say often, do a inward faith check. Now, for those of you that have seen many of my videos, you know that I ran for Congress. I've been around a lot of highfaluters in the political circles, and I've been around truth tellers that tell the truth on occasion, or would tell me the truth at any rate. Something that's not being touched on here, and I've tried to tell everybody, all I can do is just warn folks. I consider myself a watcher. I try to watch for things coming, and I'm trying my best to stay in shape physically and learn and seek knowledge with wisdom every day to prepare, because I know, reading the Bible, that there is no pre-trib rapture. In other words, for those of you who may not know what that means, Christ is going to come, but he's going to come at the very end. Nobody's going to be risen up and going anywhere until the end. It does say there'll be two at the millstone. One will go and one will not. But it's not telling you two different raptures. There is no secret rapture. This is something that is man's foulness and demonic, is Satan's demonic lie to thwart you into believing that you won't be here when the very bad comes. Alright. If you don't believe me on that, I would suggest you just read the whole book of Matthew. Just read the whole book. Read the four Gospels. You're not going to find Jesus saying that anywhere. You're not going to see Jesus saying that there's a secret rapture in Thessalonians. What you are going to hear is that the dead in Christ will be called up first in some sort of bodily fashion, and they will be with the dead in Abraham's bosom. They're already there, but our bodies are going to come up. They're going to rematerialize in some way, shape, or form. That I don't know, and none of these preachers know. Nobody knows. Now I want to talk to you about something else in current events that's very critical, that's not being spoken of. Number one, we have recreated the arch of Baal, which was a demonic deity, and which is a demonic deity, I believe, of abortion. Here's why I believe that, is because they took babies to this temple and burnt them alive. And many of them, you get told that people were just up and wanting to sacrifice their children to this thing, but I'm not buying into that. I'm getting two conflicting historical sides to this, and the side I'm going with is unwanted children were going there. So it's obvious that the United States, to me, is in a form of Baal worship through all of these abortions that we're having, killing millions of innocent babies. Partial birth abortions are happening daily. And you just go online and look and see how these procedures are done, and look at these ultrasounds of these babies as they're fighting to stay alive. And that, if that doesn't tell you what you need to know, then you're just sick and you're a reprobate and you're gone anyway. You're going to be on the other side. You're going to be on the losing side in Armageddon. But at any rate, Christ is going to come when the stars fall from heaven. Now, this may be comments. I don't know what this is going to be, but it's going to be very, very dramatic. Christ is going to come. He's going to come one time. He is going to assemble his elect. And there's going to be a lot. There's going to be the drops, tares from the wheat that think that they're saved and think that they are elect, but they are not. A big group of these people are people that believe that you can just say a prayer, walk off, continue axe murdering, and you're fine, you're covered. And you're not. And nowhere in the Holy Bible is that said without grossly distorting the Holy Word of God. Now, we have recreated these Baal arches in London, and we've recreated one in New York. Now, I believe that all hell is fixing to break loose. Now, I want to tell you topic number two. Topic number two that we're not hearing is Vladimir Putin begging the Western media, we are the West, to inform the people of the West, all of us, that would be Western Europe, such as France, Germany, England, the United States, Canada, and South America, that the situation over the Ukraine, where, trust me, we are not the good guys. It has been proven George Soros, whom is touted for being a billionaire that goes around trying to spread democracy, and that's just not true. He goes around trying to overthrow governments that he doesn't like and tries to do business in those countries. He has international warrants out for him. The man is a criminal. He basically backed with, I believe, $5 billion an overthrow with our CIA in the Ukraine. So I can honestly tell you the Ukrainians, which was a former Soviet bloc country, but they're independent now, they elected their own government. They should have the right to vote for whom they wish, and we should have no part in that. How would we like it if England, for example, was meddling over here, in which this is going on, but it's China actually funneling millions and millions and millions of dollars into these campaigns to manipulate us. And you wouldn't like that, would you? I don't like it because it is going on. The next thing is Syria. Syria has been an ally to the Soviet Union for years. The Soviet Union has a naval base there. They have a air wing attachment there. They have soldiers there. And we've got air bases, naval bases, army bases all over the world. And yet we don't want them to have one. The chemicals of mass destruction have turned out to be a lie. Thank God in 2013, a lot of us level-headed folks got together and pressured the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate to pound and pound on the executive branch not to go in and send a full-fledged invasion of Syria, which would have created World War III. Now, this past week, General Milley, the Chief General of the Army, or it's the Army's Chief of Staff, came out giving a scathing speech, sounding very childish and very foolish and very sick. You can Google that, General Milley's speech saying if anybody hits us, we'll hit them harder than they've ever been hitting before. Uh, you can Google that. You'll get right to a link to that speech because you need to verify what I'm saying. Uh, we are in a blackout. Our press is not telling us what is happening, and we are closer to a nuclear war today than we were during the Cuban Missile Crisis. A lot closer. And the sad thing is that nobody knows it in the Western world. Now they know it because they've been putting tens of millions of people in Russia under their bomb shelters. See, they have shelters. We abandoned that. We don't have them. We're going to be sitting ducks. This country has been hijacked. Our country has been hijacked by an international clique of Jewish financiers and bankers. Now, a lot of these people are not all Jews, so I'm not saying, hey, come out, let's do concentration. No, nothing like that. Please do not misunderstand me. But if there was a group of Irishmen, I'd have no problem saying that. But the fact is, it is a group, an international clique of plutocrats that are in charge of and deciding U.S. policy. And these people have infiltrated our government, and they're there. The media is controlled. There's no doubt about it. That has been brought out in all of these emails, and Russia didn't hack these emails. That's just not true. And what we're gearing up for is for a war with Russia. Now, last week, General Dunford was asked by I believe it was the Senate Arms Committee, would could we put a no-fly zone over Syria? And he said, yeah, but what that's going to do is that's going to bring full-scale war with Russia, which would include nuclear war, and it would, and he knows it. That General Dunford is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest-ranking military officer in the nation. Then you have people like Lindsey Graham, a Republican, so I'll be a little bipartisan here. Well, can't we just shoot their planes down and be done with it? I mean, has no understanding at all with the normal human being that he serves, nor reality. Because he'll be fine if there's a nuclear, any nuclear blast, he will be fine. So I just want everyone to look, because the clock is ticking. Russia's not going to take it no more, and Russia just announced a no-fly zone over Syria. So Russia, whom has at this moment better conventional fighter jets than we do, they're going to start blowing us out of the sky. Now I want to go back biblically, where it talks about the giant of the south poking and pushing at the giant of the north. I believe we may be there at the beginning parts of this, because the giant of the north completely tears up the giant of the south. Now, people have always been confused with their geography, and they think that, well, Russia's not to the north of us, but they are totally mistaken. Russia is to the north of us. The world's shaped like this. You got Russia over here, you got the United States over here. Now, if you just come up here, you go through Canada, through the Arctic, and you keep going north with a bearing of north, and you hit the Soviet Union. So they are to the north of us. That should every school child should know that. And something else, I believe my generation was the last generation that hid up under school desks for fear of a nuclear attack on the United States. So anybody under that's not in their 50s now have no idea the worry or the anxiety of what that nuclear war could come at any moment, and any type of biblical prophecy is just not being taught to these kids. So we need to educate our children. We need to not candy coat things, and we need to let them know the realities and truths of this world. But when we as parents can't find these things, and we're just worried about what we're doing next, our children will never know. So my challenge is to parents that you start looking deeply into current events, and do this by alternative media and checking the alternative media's sources, because you'll get some things that are not true being pushed either by the right or by the left, and these alternative media sources are pushed by the CIA, basically, or the NSA. And trust me, that's a dangerous group. They are the bureaucracy. They want perpetual war with the United States right now. That's the key here. It's to bankrupt totally the United States and then move on. Now, they've done this throughout history. So this was done to France. It was done to Germany during the First World War. And it was done to England during the Second World War. Just totally bankrupt them, then run on to the next war, and that's what this is about. And the going against Afghanistan after the terrorist attacks was only a first step. This is all about destabilizing the Middle East, every country they're in, and going in and taking over and just having war after war after war while creating debt. And if you don't understand how our debt system works, you need to Google how does the United States money supply work, and see what type of easy videos that you can watch that that explain these things in simplistic terms, because they can be very, very complicated. So basically my video today is of warning. And see, now we're not hearing all this about Syria, with concerns to Russia and the truth of the matter of the facts of how serious it is. We're hearing bickering going back and forth, but we're not getting the full truth here. And that's why Putin came out last month, President Putin of Russia, and begged, invited the Western journalists to Moscow and begged them to go back and air that there was a serious, serious problem with the United States and with Russia that was not going to correct or reset or anything of the nature. It was going to push us into another world war. And we're not hearing that. So we're not even hearing a response to these things from our Department of State. So we have to get the horse blinders off, and we need to look at the correct information. And many of you know that my ultimate goal is to get to South America at my undisclosed location and build into the side of a mountain and have about a 10-foot concrete frontal area of protection at the front and under and over it. And I don't know if that'll help or not, but we're going to try. I don't want me and my family to burn up, and I know we're not going anywhere. We're not going to be raptured up until the end. But I do know that me and my house is serving the Lord, and as for me and my house, we will be saved. Um, but look these things up, please. I'm begging you. Look up election fraud that's going on right now. Uh, Today is Sunday. It's 1 o'clock my time, and I want everyone watch the debates tonight. Watch, try to learn something. Even though in the last debate none of these real issues, uh, the most pertinent issues are not being brought up, but at least you can get informed some. And please watch these alternative media outlets to get your news and verify things uh, to know your facts. Because the Lord uh, constantly uh, almost tells us that it's all about knowledge, and then obtaining the knowledge, and then having wisdom to put in practice the knowledge which we gain. So I want everybody to know I love you. I wish you well, and God bless everybody. And wake up, smell the coffee, and get serious. And to all my Christian brothers and sisters, I want to say God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, a wonderful month, and a wonderful year. Thank you.